Most people think that making more money is all about working hard. They think that if they hustle more, if they grind more, if they push more, if they work longer hours, they will eventually break through. And reality is, this is only one tiny part of the equation. Millionaires don't think like this. Billionaires never think this way. If you observe and look at the wealthiest people that you aspire to, the people who built real businesses, the people who built generational wealth, maintained it and multiplied it, you will notice that they work with fundamental laws that are completely obscure or completely different to what the average person is usually exposed to. And when you observe these laws and try to understand them, you will notice that some of them come from natural science, some of them come from physics, some of them come from advanced business wisdom, advanced business books, and some of them also come from Holy Scripture. And in this video, what I want to do is I want to help you break down each one of them, or at least the most important ones of them that made a difference with me. And just to give you an insight of how the top 1% of people or businessmen or the wealthiest people perform and conduct themselves, and how they analyze data and how they process information. The first thing that I want to talk about is what I love to call the law of leverage, and why hard work is actually a trap for you. Because when you look at average people, you notice that they have a mindset of perceiving wealth in a direct proportion to effort or labor. But reality is completely different. That's not the case. If that was the case, then janitors, construction workers, factory employees will be the wealthiest people in society. But we all know that that's not, unfortunately, the case. So there should be a different system. There should be a different narrative to it. The wealthiest people always try to build leverage points to multiply their time. And this concept is explained immensely in the book of the Almanac of Naval Ravikant, where he explains that there are 4 types of leverage someone can build. The first leverage is labor, other people's time. The second type of leverage is capital, other people's money, whether it's individuals or institutions. And the third type of leverage is media, content that works for you 24/7. The fourth type of leverage is code and AI, technology that can help you scale and automate. So now that we established that the wealthiest people just don't trade their time for money, and we always hear this everywhere, but we cannot quantify it, we cannot visualize how that's the case. And this video is created to help you achieve that. The wealthiest people, not only they not trade their time for money, but they also find ways to multiply that time by building leverage points, because they know even if they work 14, 15, 16 hours a day, it's not enough to build an empire. So this concept is also taught and preached in biblical teachings as well. In the Bible, it's mentioned in chapter 4, verse 9, where it says, 2 hands are always better than 1, because they have a better return of labor. So if you look at it from this perspective, now you have a deep understanding that, first of all, alone you cannot build something big. And if you count only on yourself to do everything, you will always be limited. But that's not enough. You always need to find ways to multiply your time by building these leverage points. The next thing that I want to talk about is second order thinking, and why this is the skill that separates the poor from the ultra rich. Average people usually think about immediate results. So if they would do something, they would usually think, will this make me money today? Will this investment pay off this month? Or if I reach out to that client, will they close this week? This is what we call first order thinking. And that's how broke people operate. You see, the wealthiest people of society never think this way. They use what we call second order thinking. They are not just concerned about the now or the today. They always think what happens next. What about tomorrow? What's my next move? And this concept is preached in the book The Psychology of the Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, where it says the first rule of compounding is to never interrupt it unnecessarily. The same concept you can find it also in Islamic teachings, where it is clearly mentioned in Surah Al-Hashr, where it says, "O you who have believed, fear Allah and let every soul look for what it has put forth for tomorrow." You see, in simple terms, if all of this doesn't make sense to you, this is how second order thinking works. Let's say if you build a business system today, it pays you off for years. If you create content today, it generates you leads for months. And if you hire, let's say, the right person to be your executive assistant, they free up your time endlessly. You see, the summary out of all of this is that poor people think one step ahead, rich people will always think 10 steps ahead. The next thing that I want to talk about is what I call inertia, and it is the law of business momentum. You see, in physics, there is a law called that can apply to business directly, and it is the first law of motion, Newton's first law of motion, and it is called the law of inertia. It basically says that every object in motion stays in motion, and every object at rest stays at rest until acted upon by an external force. If you think about business, people who are stuck usually tend to stay stuck, and people who are growing usually tend to continue to grow. This is why in anything you do, the hardest part of it all is to start. Because once you break through inertia, once you build momentum, success becomes a tiny bit more predictable. And you see this in business everywhere. It's also mentioned in biblical teachings. In Proverbs chapter 4, verse 9, it says that lazy hands make for poverty and diligent hands make for wealth. You see this in business everywhere. The first $10,000 is always harder than the first $100,000, and the first 10 clients are always harder to get than the next 100, and the first year of business is always harder than the next 5. You see, once you understand the law of inertia, and once you understand how to leverage it, and you break through inertia, you start building momentum, your success is inevitable. Your success is way, 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 way more predictable. The last thing that I want to talk about is entropy. And it is what I believe the main reason to why a lot of businesses collapse eventually. You see, if you don't actively maintain something and improve it, it moves towards destruction, it declines. And this is called entropy. It is the second law of thermodynamics. It's a universal law. It applies to the shooting stars, the mega planets, the supernovas, the black holes, and to the smallest things in the universe, to the atomic level. You see, it states that every system moves naturally towards self-destruction and disorder unless energy is put in to maintain it. And you see this everywhere. If you do not go to the gym and train constantly, your body gets weaker. If you do not invest and maintain your relationships, they fall apart. And if you don't constantly improve your business, it declines. It's a universal law. There is no stagnation in the universe. It's either you're moving up or backwards. It's either you are growing or dying. It's either you are expanding or shrinking. There is no stagnation. There is no middle line. And you see this a lot in business too. Companies like Blockbuster, they didn't adapt, so Netflix took over. Other companies like Nokia, at one point they had a massive market share, but because they didn't innovate, Apple took over. And companies like Toys R Us, for the last 20, 30, 50 years, they managed to dominate. They had a big company, but because they didn't adapt to e-commerce, Amazon took over. So you see, this is what I mean with there are no stagnations. You need to always keep improving. And the same concepts are also taught in Islamic teachings. In the Quran, in Surah Al-Ra'd, it says, Allah does not change the condition of people until they change what is in themselves. And the same teachings, the same principles are also taught in Judaic principles, in the halakha, and also in the Torah, in Deravim. It says, I forgot the verse, but it says something within the lines of, but remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth. So you see, all of these things reinstate from natural science, physics, Holy Scripture, business acumen, real life scenarios. They all lead to one concept and to one sort of realization or interpretation. If you don't actively maintain your business and you don't actively push to move forward, it declines. It moves towards self-destruction. Now, reality, most people will watch this video and do absolutely nothing. They will just nod, think it's a great video, say, yes, makes sense, and then go on to do exactly what they used to do and expect a different outcome. That's the reality. And this is why 90% of people stay stuck and forever, and they don't make progress. They don't achieve their full potential. The outcome will only change if you change the input. And if you think about it, leverage gives you the ability to multiply your time and not trade your valuable hours for money. And you also have second order thinking, which teaches you to think about the future, plan 10 steps ahead, and stop worrying and being consumed about the now and reactive to the moment. And you have inertia, which teaches you to break through the friction, build momentum, and stop worrying about the right time to start. And finally, you have entropy, the second law of thermodynamics, which will always put pressure on you to continue to improve and continue trying something new and moving forward, and prevent you from decaying slowly without even realizing it. You see, the wealthiest people of the planet play with this playbook. They use these laws and they use these rules on a daily basis. So the question is, will you? And if you do, your life, your business, your wealth will change forever.